The notification sound from my phone cuts through the silence of our empty kitchen like a blade. I'm standing at the granite counter, still in my work clothes, when the message appears on my screen. A photo I never should have seen. My husband Derek's face pressed close to another woman's. Their smiles intimate and familiar. The timestamp shows yesterday, while I was working late again, believing his story about client dinners and business trips. My hands begin to shake as I scroll through more images. Restaurant photos, hotel room selfies, a vacation I knew nothing about. Each picture, a fresh wound, each caption, a lie unraveling. The woman's name is visible in the corner of one photo. Melissa from his office. The same Melissa he mentioned casually over dinner just last week, dismissing her as just another colleague when I asked about his new project partner. I sink onto the bar stool, my designer heels clicking against the marble floor. 15 years of marriage, 2 kids, a life we built together stone by stone. All of it crumbling in the space between one heartbeat and the next. The house feels different now, like a stage set after the play has ended. Everything looks the same, but nothing means what it used to. My phone buzzes again. Derek's name flashes across the screen. "Working late tonight, honey. Don't wait up." The casual betrayal in those simple words ignites something dangerous inside me. Not just anger, but something colder, more calculating. He thinks I'm still the naive woman who believed every excuse, every delayed homecoming, every weekend business conference that somehow never had any business attached. I close my eyes and remember the woman I used to be. Sarah Mitchell, successful marketing director, devoted wife, loving mother. The woman who made excuses for Derek's absences, who convinced herself that his distance was just work stress. Who ignored the lipstick stain on his collar last month, the unfamiliar perfume in our bedroom, the way he started guarding his phone like state secrets. But that woman died the moment I saw those photos. In her place stands someone I'm only beginning to recognize. Someone who's done being a victim in her own life story. I pour myself a glass of wine, my movements steady despite the earthquake happening inside my chest. The kitchen clock ticks toward midnight. Our kids, Emma and Jake, are asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware that their father is currently wrapped around another woman, while their mother sits here planning what comes next. Because there will be something next. Derek thinks he's been clever, covering his tracks, maintaining his double life with surgical precision. What he doesn't know is that I've been a marketing strategist for 12 years. I understand campaigns, timing, public relations disasters, and exactly how to destroy a carefully constructed image. The first thing I do is screenshot everything. Every photo, every location tag, every piece of evidence that Melissa was careless enough to post publicly. Social media has always been Derek's weakness. He never understood how digital footprints work, how every check-in and tagged photo creates a timeline that can't be erased. I open my laptop and create a new folder. Evidence, I name it. Then I begin the methodical work of documentation. Bank statements showing charges at restaurants I never visited. Credit card bills with hotel expenses during his supposed business trips to cities where his company has no clients. Phone records showing hundreds of calls to a number I now know belongs to her. The patterns emerge like constellations in a dark sky. Tuesday dinners that started 6 months ago. Weekend trips that coincided perfectly with my own business travel. Even our anniversary dinner last month, cut short because of his sudden headache, now revealed as preparation for a romantic getaway with her. My wine glass empties as I work, but my head remains clear. This isn't about emotion anymore. It's about strategy. Derek has underestimated the woman he married, and that mistake will cost him everything he thinks he's protecting. At 2 a.m, I finally hear his car in the driveway. I close my laptop and arrange myself on the couch, pretending to sleep. The front door opens with practiced quietness. His footsteps move carefully across the hardwood, avoiding the spots that creak. He's done this before, many times. He pauses at the bottom of the stairs, and I feel his eyes on me through barely open lids. For a moment, Something like guilt might cross his face. But then he continues upstairs, probably already composing tomorrow's excuse for his late return. I wait until I hear the shower running before I move. Derek always showers when he comes home from seeing her, washing away the evidence of his betrayal before sliding into bed beside me. The ritual disgusts me now that I understand it. In our bedroom, I watch him through the bathroom doorway. This man I loved, who promised to cherish me, who held my hand through childbirth and celebrated every milestone of our children's lives. The stranger who's been living a lie for months while I played the fool. When he finally comes to bed, he reaches for me in the darkness. His touch, once comforting, now feels like contamination. I pretend to sleep, letting him spoon against my back while my mind races with plans. He has no idea that his wife has transformed into his worst nightmare. Morning comes with artificial normalcy. Derek makes coffee while I prepare the kids' lunches, both of us performing our roles in this domestic theater. Emma chatters about her upcoming school dance. Jake complains about his math homework. Our family breakfast table becomes a stage where only I know the show is ending. Derek kisses my cheek before leaving for work. The same cheek he kissed yesterday before spending the afternoon with another woman. His lips feel like ice against my skin. After the kids leave for school, I call in sick to work. Today, I have more important things to do than quarterly marketing reports. I have a marriage to destroy and a life to reclaim. The first call I make is to Janet Rodriguez, the best divorce attorney in the city. I've known Janet socially for years, through various charity events, but now I need her professional expertise. Her voice is warm, but becomes sharp and focused when I explain why I'm calling. "Can you come in this morning?" she asks after I give her the basic details. "Bring everything you have. We need to move quickly." Janet's office overlooks the harbor, all glass and steel and power. She listens without interruption as I lay out the evidence, her expression growing more impressed with each revelation. When I finish, she leans back in her leather chair and smiles like a shark scenting blood. "Sarah," she says, "your documentation is extraordinary. Most people come to me with suspicions and hurt feelings. You've brought me a prosecutor's dream case." "I've learned that preparation is everything," I reply. "Derek taught me that, actually. He just never expected me to use it against him." The legal strategy is elegant in its simplicity. We'll file for divorce citing adultery, supported by overwhelming evidence. The prenup Derek insisted on 5 years ago, the one that seemed so romantic when he said it was just a formality, will become his undoing. The infidelity clause voids most of his protections. But legal victory isn't enough. Derek's betrayal goes beyond just breaking our marriage vows. He's stolen time from our children, lied to our families, made me complicit in his deception by keeping me ignorant. The punishment should fit the scope of his crimes. Janet raises an eyebrow when I outline my complete plan. "It's thorough," she admits. "Are you sure you want to go this far?" I think about the photos on my phone, about the months of lies, about the way he kissed me goodbye this morning while planning to see her again today. About Emma asking last week why Daddy seems so distracted lately, and Jake wondering why his parents don't laugh together anymore. He made his choice, I tell Janet. Now he gets to live with the consequences. That afternoon, I begin phase 1 of what Derek will later call the most comprehensive destruction he's ever witnessed. But I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply revealing the truth he's worked so hard to hide. The truth has a way of spreading, especially when it's carefully planted in the right places at the right time. And I know exactly where Derek's reputation is most vulnerable, exactly which relationships matter most to him, exactly how to ensure that his carefully constructed life crumbles as completely as he's destroyed mine. By the time Derek comes home that evening, completely unaware that his world has fundamentally shifted, I'm calmly setting the table for dinner. Our last dinner as a family before everything changes. He has no idea that his wife has spent the day becoming the architect of his downfall. Tomorrow, Derek's real education begins. He's about to learn that the woman he's been taking for granted is far more dangerous than the one he's been sneaking around to see. The game is about to begin, and for the first time in months, I hold all the cards. The next morning arrives with deceptive tranquility. Derek's alarm chimes at 6:30, same as always. He stumbles to the bathroom, runs the shower, emerges 20 minutes later smelling like expensive cologne. The same cologne I used to love, now just another prop in his elaborate performance. I watch him dress through the reflection in my vanity mirror, cataloging details I never noticed before. How he checks his phone constantly, typing messages he angles away from me. How he started wearing the navy tie I bought him for Christmas, the one he claimed was too flashy for work. How his wedding ring has developed a slight tan line, suggesting he's been removing it more often than I realized. Over breakfast, Emma mentions her friend's parents are getting divorced. The casual comment makes Derek's coffee cup pause halfway to his lips. His eyes dart to me, searching for some sign that I know something. But I simply buttered Jake's toast and reminded Emma about her piano lesson after school. The performance continues seamlessly. I've become an actress in my own life, playing the role of the oblivious wife, while my real work happens behind the scenes. Derek has no idea that yesterday, while he was supposedly in client meetings, I was downloading 7 months of our joint account statements and photographing every receipt in his wallet. After Derek leaves for his office and the kids catch their school bus, I pour another cup of coffee and open my laptop. Phase 1 required documentation and legal preparation. Phase 2 requires something far more delicate, strategic information dissemination. I start with Derek's mother, Patricia. My relationship with my mother-in-law has always been cordial but distant. She's a woman who values appearance above all else, someone who spent 40 years perfecting the art of social climbing. Her weekly bridge club, her charity board positions, her carefully curated image as the matriarch of a successful family. All of it built on the foundation of respectability that Derek's infidelity threatens to shatter. The phone call is brief and surgical. "Patricia," I say when she answers, "I wanted you to hear this from me before it becomes public knowledge. Derek has been having an affair with a colleague. I filed for divorce. The silence stretches so long, I wonder if the call dropped." Then Patricia's voice returns, smaller somehow. "Sarah, surely there's been some misunderstanding. Derek would never." I email her 3 photos while we're still talking. Her sharp intake of breath tells me she's opened them. "The evidence speaks for itself, Patricia. I thought you should know before the legal proceedings begin." After I hang up, I allow myself a moment of satisfaction. Patricia will spend the rest of the day in crisis mode, calling her friends to control the narrative before it controls her. By dinner time, Derek's affair will be the primary topic of conversation in the country club dining room where his reputation matters most. My second call goes to Marcus Chen, Derek's business partner and closest friend since college. Marcus has always been the charming one, the social connector who brings in clients through his extensive network. He's also deeply religious, someone who's built his entire professional image around family values and moral integrity. Marcus sounds genuinely confused when I explain the situation. He keeps insisting there must be some mistake, that Derek would never jeopardize everything they've built together. His denial becomes more frantic as I describe the timeline of Derek's deception. "Sarah," Marcus says finally, his voice tight with panic, "if this becomes public knowledge, it could destroy our firm's reputation. Half our clients chose us because they trust our character." "I understand your concern," I reply calmly. "That's exactly why I wanted to give you advance notice. The divorce filing will be public record within 48 hours. The beauty of my approach lies in its restraint. I'm not making accusations or spreading gossip. I'm simply informing people who will be affected by Derek's choices before they discover the truth through less controlled channels. It's a kindness, really, giving them time to prepare their own damage control." My third call is the most strategic. Linda Hoffman runs the premier public relations firm in our city, someone whose client list reads like a who's who of local politics and business. She's also Derek's current client, the account he's been using to justify his frequent late meetings and weekend obligations. "Linda," I say when her assistant puts me through. I need to discuss a situation that might affect your firm's relationship with Derek Mitchell. I can hear papers rustling in the background as Linda multitasks through our conversation. What kind of situation, Sarah? Derek has been conducting an extramarital affair with an employee at his firm. The relationship has been ongoing for several months, and I have extensive documentation. I thought you should know before considering any future business arrangements. Linda's silence is different from Patricia's shock or Marcus's denial. This is the silence of a professional calculating risk and liability. When she speaks again, her tone has shifted from casual to cautious. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, she says carefully. We'll need to review our current contracts with Derek's firm. The call ends with polite formalities, but I know Linda will spend the next hour researching morality clauses and public relations disasters. By tomorrow, Derek will discover that his most lucrative client has suddenly decided to take their business elsewhere. Each conversation plants a seed that will bloom into consequences Derek hasn't anticipated. He's been so focused on hiding his affair from me that he never considered how it might affect the other relationships that define his life. His mother's social standing, his business partnership, his professional reputation, all of it built on a foundation of trust he's systematically destroyed. My phone buzzes with a text from Derek. Having lunch with the Peterson account today? Home by 7. I screenshot the message and add it to my evidence file. Then I call the Peterson company's main number and ask to speak with their marketing director. A brief conversation confirms what I already suspected. There is no Peterson lunch meeting. There never was. While Derek fabricates his alibi, I drive to Emma's school to volunteer for the book fair. Normal activities, normal interactions, normal life continuing while my marriage implodes in carefully controlled stages. Other mothers chat about Halloween costumes and parent conferences, oblivious to the revolution happening inside my chest. Mrs. Davidson, Emma's teacher, mentions how proud she is of our family stability. So many of her students come from broken homes, she says, but Emma always talks about her parents with such love and respect. The irony cuts deep, but I smile and nod appropriately. Emma will learn soon enough that her father isn't the man she believes him to be. But that conversation will happen on my terms, when I've prepared the ground to minimize her pain. After the book fair, I meet Janet Rodriguez for lunch at a quiet restaurant downtown. She slides a manila folder across the table, her expression professionally satisfied. The preliminary injunction is ready for filing, she says. Once we submit it, Derek won't be able to access your joint accounts or dispose of any marital assets. We can serve him tomorrow if you're ready. I study the legal documents, each page representing another nail in the coffin of my marriage. The language is cold and clinical, reducing 15 years of shared life to property divisions and custody arrangements. But beneath the legal terminology lies something more powerful: agency. For the first time since I discovered Derek's betrayal, I'm not reacting to his choices. I'm making my own. Every decision, every phone call, every strategic revelation serves my goals rather than his convenience. I'm ready, I tell Janet, but I want to control the timing. Derek has a presentation to the city council next week, something he's been preparing for months. I want the papers served the morning after that presentation. Janet raises an eyebrow. You want him to have his professional moment before we destroy his personal life? I want him to experience the highest point of his career success, I correct her. So the fall will be that much more devastating. He's earned this moment of public humiliation through months of private betrayal. The strategy is psychological as much as legal. Derek has always been someone who craves recognition, who measures his worth through external validation. Letting him achieve a professional triumph before revealing his personal failures will maximize the psychological impact of his downfall. That evening, Derek 7, Arm returns home precisely ATD with stories about his fictional lunch meeting and manufactured details about clients who don't exist. He kisses my cheek with practiced casualness, asks about my day with feigned interest, helps Jake with homework like the devoted father he pretends to be. During dinner, I study my family around our dining room table. Emma chattering about her friend's birthday party, Jake explaining his science project with animated gestures, Derek nodding and smiling and playing his role perfectly. This is the last normal dinner we'll ever share, though only I know it. Tomorrow begins the final phase of my plan, the week that will transform our family permanently. Derek will discover that his wife has been planning his destruction with the same methodical precision he used to plan his deception. The only difference is that my plan will actually work. After the kids go to bed, Derek retreats to his home office to prepare for next week's presentation. Through the doorway, I watch him practice his speech, gesturing confidently at charts and graphs. He's genuinely excited about this opportunity, completely unaware that it represents the pinnacle of his career rather than a stepping stone to greater success. I settle into my reading chair with a cup of tea and my laptop, reviewing the final elements of my strategy. Every conversation scheduled, every revelation timed, every consequence carefully orchestrated. Derek taught me that successful campaigns require attention to detail and perfect execution. He's about to discover exactly how well I learned those lessons. My phone lights up with a notification from Melissa's Instagram account, a photo of her manicured nails with the caption, "Treating myself after a perfect day." The timestamp shows she posted it 20 minutes ago, right around the time Derek claimed to be stuck in traffic. I add the screenshot to my evidence file and smile. Even at the very end, they're still providing me with ammunition. Some people never learn that the internet remembers everything, especially when someone like me is watching and documenting every mistake. Tomorrow, Derek's real education begins. He's about to discover that the woman he's been betraying is far more formidable than the one he's been replacing her with. The game enters its final phase, and I've never felt more alive. The morning sun filters through our bedroom curtains as Derek's alarm pierces the quiet at precisely 6:30. I've been awake for hours, lying perfectly still beside him, listening to his steady breathing while my mind runs through today's checklist. Phase 3 begins now, and timing will be everything. Derek moves through his morning routine with mechanical precision, each action identical to countless mornings before. But today feels different, charged with an electricity he can't sense. He's humming in the shower, probably thinking about tonight's dinner with Melissa, the one he'll disguise as another client meeting. I watch him select his lucky cufflinks, the ones I bought him for our 10th anniversary. The irony isn't lost on me that he's wearing symbols of our marriage while planning to betray it again. He catches my eye in the mirror and smiles, that boyish grin that once made my heart skip. "Big day today," he says, adjusting his tie. "The Henderson contract should close this afternoon." Another lie, delivered with practiced ease. There is no Henderson contract. I verified that yesterday with a single phone call to his secretary, claiming I wanted to send congratulatory flowers. Poor Derek hasn't realized that his web of deception has become so complex he can't keep track of which stories he's told to whom. After he leaves, I pour my coffee and open the morning news on my tablet. The local business section features a small article about Derek's upcoming city council presentation, complete with a photo of him looking confident and successful. The headline reads, "Local firm proposes downtown revitalization." How perfectly ironic. Derek wants to revitalize downtown while his own life is about to become a demolition site. My phone buzzes with a text from my sister Rachel in California. She's the only person I've told about the divorce, and only because I needed someone to take Emma and Jake for a weekend when the custody arrangements get messy. "How are you holding up?" her message reads. "Do you need me to fly out there?" I type back quickly. "I'm stronger than I thought I'd be. Everything is proceeding according to plan." That's the truth. For weeks after discovering Derek's affair, I felt like I was drowning, gasping for air in a life that no longer made sense. But once I started planning, once I began taking control, instead of simply reacting, something fundamental shifted. The victim mentality dissolved, replaced by something harder and more focused. My first appointment today is with Dr. Amanda Foster, a child psychologist who specializes in helping children navigate divorce. Emma and Jake will need professional support when their world inevitably crumbles, and I refuse to let Derek's selfishness destroy their emotional stability along with everything else. Dr. Foster's office is designed to feel safe and welcoming, with soft lighting and comfortable furniture that doesn't intimidate young visitors. She listens carefully as I explain the situation, occasionally taking notes, but mostly just absorbing the complexity of what my children will soon face. The most important thing, she says when I finish, is maintaining stability in their daily routines while being honest about the changes happening in your family structure. We spend an hour developing strategies for age-appropriate conversations, ways to reassure Emma and Jake that they're not responsible for their parents' problems, techniques for helping them express their emotions safely. It's heartbreaking and necessary work, preparing for damage Derek hasn't even realized he's caused yet. My second stop is the bank, where I meet with our personal financial advisor, Thomas Wright. Thomas has managed our investments for 8 years, watching our portfolio grow as Derek's career flourished. He knows our financial history better than we do, which makes this conversation both easier and more painful. Sarah, I have to ask, Thomas says, after reviewing the account analysis I requested. Are you certain about this course of action? Divorce can be financially devastating for both parties. I slide a folder across his mahogany desk. Derek has been systematically hiding assets and redirecting funds to support his extramarital relationship. This isn't a marriage worth preserving. Thomas opens the folder and examines the evidence I've compiled. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals that correspond with Derek's dates with Melissa. Credit card charges at expensive restaurants during times when Derek claimed to be working late. Hotel expenses that don't match any legitimate business travel. His expression grows more serious with each page. This is extensive documentation, Sarah. Have you considered that Derek might try to claim these were legitimate business expenses? Every charge has been cross-referenced with his actual work schedule and verified against his company's client list. I reply, Derek has been stealing from our family to fund his affair. The evidence is overwhelming. Thomas nods slowly, his professional demeanor masking what I suspect is personal disappointment. He's known Derek for years, probably considered him a friend. Learning that someone you trusted has been living a lie changes how you see everything about them. We spent another hour restructuring my accounts, setting up safeguards to protect Emma and Jake's college funds, establishing new passwords for everything Derek might try to access once the divorce proceedings begin. It's tedious work, but each signature and authorization feels like reclaiming a piece of my stolen life. By afternoon, I'm back home, preparing for Emma and Jake's return from school. The house feels different now, less like a home and more like a museum of a marriage that ended months ago without my knowledge. Every family photo on the mantle tells a lie. Every shared memory has been contaminated by Derek's deception. Emma bursts through the front door with her usual enthusiasm, backpack sliding off her shoulder as she launches into a detailed account of her day. Her innocence breaks my heart. In a few days, her world will change forever, and there's nothing I can do to prevent that pain. Jake follows more quietly, still at the age where showing emotion feels risky. He hugs me briefly before heading to the kitchen for his after-school snack, and I catch myself memorizing the moment. Soon, our family dynamics will be completely different. Mom, Emma says, settling beside me on the couch, is everything okay? You seem sad lately. The question catches me off guard, though it shouldn't. Children are remarkably perceptive about emotional undercurrents, especially when their security depends on reading adult moods accurately. I choose my words carefully. Sometimes grown-ups go through difficult times, sweetheart. But whatever happens, Dad and I will always love you and Jake more than anything in the world. It's not a lie exactly, though Derek's version of love has proven far more conditional than I ever imagined. Emma nods solemnly, seeming to understand that bigger conversations are coming even if she doesn't know their content yet. That evening, Derek returns home with theatrical exhaustion, loosening his tie and sighing dramatically about his challenging day. He kisses my forehead absently while checking his phone, probably looking for messages from Melissa. "The Henderson deal hit a snag," he says, not meeting my eyes. "Might need to work late tomorrow to sort it out." I nod sympathetically, playing my role perfectly. "That's frustrating. You've worked so hard on that account." If Derek notices the irony in my words, he doesn't show it. He's become so comfortable with deception that he probably believes his own lies at this point. The cognitive dissonance required to maintain his double life must be exhausting. During dinner, I study Derek's face as he interacts with our children. Does he feel any guilt about the destruction he's about to bring into their lives? Any regret about the promises he's breaking? Or has he rationalized his behavior so completely that he genuinely believes he deserves both his family and his affair? "Dad," Jake says suddenly, "Tyler's parents are getting divorced. He has to spend weekends at his dad's apartment now." Derek's fork pauses midway to his mouth. The comment clearly makes him uncomfortable, though he tries to hide it behind parental concern. "That's tough for Tyler," Derek replies carefully. "Divorce is always hard on kids. The hypocrisy is breathtaking." Derek expressing sympathy for a child whose life has been disrupted by divorce while actively creating the same disruption for his own children. I wonder if he sees the parallel or if his capacity for self-reflection has been completely compromised by his selfishness. After the kids finish their homework and go to bed, Derek retreats to his office to continue preparing for next week's presentation. Through the open doorway, I watch him practice his speech, his voice confident and persuasive as he outlines his vision for downtown development. He's genuinely good at his job, I have to admit. Derek has always been charismatic, able to convince people to believe in his ideas and trust his judgment. Those same skills have served him well in maintaining his affair, allowing him to lie convincingly while projecting an image of trustworthiness. But charisma without character is just manipulation, and Derek's mask is about to slip permanently. I settle into my reading chair with my laptop and reviewing the final details of tomorrow's schedule. 3 more phone calls to make, 2 more pieces of evidence to document, 1 final conversation to have before Derek's presentation launches him toward his professional peak. My phone lights up with a notification from Derek's credit card company. A charge at Romano's, the expensive Italian restaurant downtown. The same restaurant where he took me for our anniversary 3 years ago, now repurposed as the setting for his romantic dinners with Melissa. I screenshot the notification and add it to my evidence file. Even now, Derek continues providing me with ammunition, each lie creating more documentation of his betrayal. Some patterns are so ingrained they become self-destructive. Tomorrow marks the beginning of Derek's final week as the man everyone believes him to be. By this time next week, his reputation will be shattered, his marriage will be over, and his relationship with our children will be forever changed. The only question remaining is whether Derek will learn anything from the destruction he's caused, or if he'll simply find new ways to blame everyone except himself for the consequences of his choices. Either way, my part in this story is almost finished. Soon, I'll be free to write a new chapter, one where I'm the protagonist of my own life instead of a supporting character in Derek's elaborate fiction. The game is nearly over, and victory tastes like justice served exactly as cold as it should be. Thursday morning arrives with Derek's nervous energy filling our bedroom like static electricity. Today is his city council presentation, the culmination of months of preparation, professional moment he's been building toward his entire career. He's been awake since 5, pacing between the bathroom and his closet, adjusting his tie for the 3rd time. I watch him through half-closed eyes, noting how his hands shake slightly as he buttons his shirt. The irony isn't lost on me that Derek's anxiety about public speaking pales in comparison to the performance anxiety he should be feeling about maintaining his double life. But men like Derek compartmentalize beautifully, storing their guilt in locked boxes they never have to open. "Wish me luck," he says, leaning down to kiss my forehead before leaving. His lips feel cold against my skin, like pressing ice to a burn. "You'll be brilliant," I tell him, and I mean it. Derek will deliver an exceptional presentation today, will charm the council members and secure the contract that represents the pinnacle of his professional achievement. He deserves this moment of triumph because it makes what comes next so much more devastating. After Derek leaves, I make my final preparations. The divorce papers sit in Janet's office, ready for service tomorrow morning. The bank accounts have been secured, the assets documented, the evidence compiled into an unshakable case. Every piece of my strategy has been positioned like chess pieces on a board Derek doesn't even know he's playing on. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus Chen. Big day for Derek. The whole firm is pulling for him. I screenshot the message, knowing that by next week, Marcus will be scrambling to distance the firm from Derek's scandal. Professional relationships built on trust crumble quickly when that trust proves misplaced. Derek will discover that his reputation, carefully cultivated over 15 years, can be destroyed in 15 minutes of honest conversation. 6 months later, I sit in my new apartment overlooking the harbor, watching the sunset paint the water in shades of gold and crimson. Emma and Jake are with me this weekend, their laughter echoing from the kitchen as they attempt to make pancakes for dinner. The sound fills spaces in my heart I forgot were empty. Derek's downtown revitalization project was quietly shelved after his divorce became public record. Marcus dissolved their partnership within a month, citing irreconcilable differences in professional values. Patricia no longer speaks to her son, the social humiliation too great for her country club reputation to survive. Sometimes I wonder if Derek learned anything from watching his carefully constructed life implode in real time. But then I remember that growth requires accountability, and Derek has always been more comfortable with excuses than truth. The woman who discovered those photos on her phone feels like a stranger now, someone I knew briefly but never really understood. That woman believed love meant accepting betrayal. That family meant sacrificing herself on the altar of other people's comfort. This woman knows better. She knows that the most radical act of self-love is refusing to accept less than she deserves, even when that refusal destroys everything familiar. My phone lights up with a notification from the bank. Another deposit into the account I control completely now, money I earned through my own efforts, rather than shared with someone who saw my trust as weakness to exploit. Emma runs in from the kitchen, flour in her hair and joy on her face. "Mom, are you happy now?" she asks, settling beside me on the couch. The question catches me off guard with its simplicity. Am I happy? Not in the way I thought happiness looked, not in the picture-perfect family portrait that was built on lies, but in the quiet satisfaction of knowing my own worth, in the peace that comes from living authentically, in the freedom to write my own story instead of playing a supporting role in someone else's fiction. "Yes, sweetheart," I tell her, meaning it completely. I really am. Sometimes the most beautiful revenge is simply refusing to stay broken. Sometimes justice looks like rebuilding yourself stronger than you were before. And sometimes the greatest victory is discovering that you never needed saving, you just needed to stop accepting betrayal as love. The sun disappears behind the horizon, and I close my laptop, satisfied with the day's work. Tomorrow brings new possibilities, new choices that belong entirely to me. Derek thought he was trading up when he chose deception over devotion. He never realized he was setting me free.